All right, hello everyone. Welcome back to Arlington, Texas at the QAD Redzone Champion of AI Manufacturing Conference. It's been a long day. We're like in our 10th interview here, but I would say it was a very interesting conference. We heard from a lot of different perspectives here, covered different angles, and I'm super impressed.
It's always fun when you see a company that's reinventing itself. And clearly this company, new leadership, new direction, a lot of energy, and you can tell that from talking to the customers, that this is a company that plans on doing some big things, and that's always exciting.
Yeah, and it started bright and early at 8:30 with Sanjay, right, the CEO. Highly passionate, I thought very concise, very clear, hard hitting, and I think very practical. But as we talked about several times today with different guests, I think they're ahead of the curve here, not only with their vision, but what they're actually delivering. Because it's more than just automation and ERP, but they're getting into the world of decision intelligence and helping knowledge workers make better judgments, better decisions. And I think that's where you start to ramp ROI when it comes to AI.
Well, for the last year, agentic AI has become the buzzword of choice, of course, and it really is an overhyped technology. It's become almost meaningless without applications. And what was refreshing to me about this conference was that this company seems to have real ideas about where they're going to apply AI. I mean, they talked about inventory optimization. They talked about supply chain optimization, about the real problems that manufacturers are facing. And that, I think, put agentic AI into a framework where you can really see how it's going to play out.
Yeah, and you and I, one of the great things about what we do is we get to talk to a lot of these companies all year long. And you're right about everyone's now doing agentic AI. And we know that can't be true unless it equals generative AI. And actually the Boston Consulting Group came out recently with a very good study where, and I wish I did this with our study, but when people say they're doing agentic AI, they ask the next question to break it down. And what they found was only 17% of them were actually doing some sort of agentic AI. It's very much in its infancy. Because if generative AI is about being an assistant to help you automate tasks, agentic AI is helping you plan and solve a problem and achieve a goal, make a decision. And I really think they're starting to bring that to life with what we saw with Champion AI.
And you got to remember, ChatGPT came out less than 3 years ago.
Yeah.
It was late November of 2022. And that is a blink of an eye for large enterprises to observe, evaluate, and assimilate a new technology. And then all of a sudden we have agents to deal with. So this has been a whiplash, I think, for enterprise CIOs. They're struggling to get their arms around it, not surprisingly. And we heard, I mean, even with Dave Miller from Hendrickson here, talking about how they're pretty far out on the leading edge in terms of understanding where to apply agentic AI. They haven't implemented anything yet. They're still preparing to put this stuff into practice. So we shouldn't assume that enterprises are racing ahead full speed with this stuff. They have a lot of concerns and a lot of preparation needs to go into it.
Yeah, we heard from 3 customers today. So we had in Hershey, and then we had Nestlé Purina. And another observation that I had was the excitement level of their customers.
Yeah.
They weren't going through the motions here. You can see that they were really excited about where they're heading, what they heard at the conference here. And as you've done this a lot more than I have, but that's not always the case. Excitement level.
Well, certainly AI has sort of raised the excitement level across the industry. And I think customers, we talked about cloud for years, we talked about analytics and what you could do with that. It was sort of incremental progress. You're looking at a transformative technology right now for many of these companies, and that's pretty exciting. And I think that came through in the conversations that we had. It's up to the companies that are implementing this stuff to come up with the practical applications that are really going to make sense. And in the case of QAD, they have the advantage that they're all about manufacturing. So they're going to understand how to apply agentic in manufacturing scenarios.
Go really deep. The other thing I liked was the big focus on people. It wasn't just about technology and products, and they put a huge emphasis on people right? It's about empowering people, and they were crystal clear that they don't envision this replacing people. It's really about superpowers and allowing them to become more fulfilled, do more, like their jobs better. I thought that was a really refreshing and good message to kind of fuse into this whole set of really revamped products.
Certainly they're saying the right things. Now the flip side of that, I read a Deloitte study that said the most top executives are still looking at AI as a way to cut costs. So maybe the intentions and the actions are not necessarily in sync at this point, but it's good to hear that their intentions are in the right direction, and they're seeing this as a path to growth. You know, as Vince Lombardi said, you don't cut your way to success. They see this as a path to growth instead of just a way to cut the expense line.
Yeah, a lot of the common themes across these conferences is speed
Yep.
to value, time to market, keeping up with a rapidly evolving technology landscape, which obviously has to fuse with the business landscape. And I can only hope, and I think I'm starting to see evidence of this, that yes, you can use agentic AI to cut labor and to cut costs. But I think the smart companies are going to take those efficiencies and those savings and reinvest it in the knowledge workers that can actually do more now. And because really, if you're cost cutting, you're not investing what you could into the growth into the future. And in time will tell, right?
It comes down to how do you value your employees? Do you see your employees as cogs in a machine, or do you see them as informational assets?
Right. Either way, it was good. Like you said, the aspiration is there, and I think that was very healthy.
Heard all the right
and I think people need to start hearing that people that are delivering these agentic systems, they don't believe it's going to wipe out everyone's jobs, and I think that's an important thing, because ultimately, if people don't decide and want and are excited to use and partner with these agents to get their work done, like they say, the currency of ROI is going to be trust. No trust, no ROI. You want people to believe in it, and they did their role today to drive home that message.
Certainly hope we'll be back next year, because it will be interesting to see how this new management team performs, executes on the vision they outlined.
All right, so any last thoughts before the bar is open behind us?
It's been a fire hose. Learned a lot today, and manufacturing continues to be a technology-driven field, and they're leading the way again.
All right. Well, for all of you, thank you very much for taking your time and joining us here on theCUBE, covering the QAD Redzone Champions of Manufacturing Conference in beautiful Arlington, Texas. I got it right that time. For Paul, Gillin, and myself, thank you very much, and we'll see you on the next round.